My breath is a metronome. 1 inhalation, 3 seconds hold, 4 seconds exhalation. A click from the regulator at the base of my throat, then silence. In the abyssal habitats of Hyas 3, rhythm is survival. We don't rush, we don't sprint, we exist in the stillness, a cultural commandment born of hard thermodynamics. Every joule of energy burned is oxygen consumed. Every spike in heart rate is a theft from the community reserves. I am sitting in the preparation chamber of Sector 4's primary airlock, watching the pressure gauge climb, and my pulse is holding steady at 45 beats per minute. It is a low pulse, a good pulse, the pulse of a man who knows the math and has accepted the solution. Outside the 3-inch titanium sapphire composite of the viewport, the ocean is a solid wall of black. There is no light down here in the Hadal zone, 11 kilometers beneath the waves of a planet we murdered. The sun hasn't touched this depth in 40 years, blocked by the rotting curtain of the surface bloom. I stare into that crushing dark, and I don't feel fear, I feel weight. The 1.2 g gravity of Hyas pulls at my skeletal structure, compressing my spine, making the fluid in my inner ear sluggish. The air in the habitat is dense, pressurized to help the hull resist the 1100 atmospheres of water pushing in from the outside. It tastes of recycled ozone and the copper tang of fear, filtered and refiltered until it barely resembles atmosphere at all. I am a scrubber. My caste is the only one permitted to break the stillness. Suit integration complete, Technician Kale. The automated system drones. The voice is soft, modulated to be non-intrusive. Oh, 2 reserves topped. Metabolic dampeners active. Good luck. I don't answer. Speech costs air. The outer hatch cycles. The heavy, hydraulic groan of the locking pins retreating vibrates through the soles of my boots. I step out into the intake manifold access tunnel. It's not the open ocean, not yet. It's a service cage, a metal lattice clinging to the side of the electrolytic cracker station. The lights on my hard suit flicker on, cutting a cone of illumination into the water. Immediately, I am surrounded by the purple snow. It is the corpse of our ambition. Strain 7 alpha phytoplankton. 40 years ago, the geoengineers patted themselves on the back for creating a hyper-efficient oxygen generator. They didn't account for the genetic drift. Now, the entire global ocean is choked with necrotic algal biomass. It sinks from the surface in endless, thick sheets, coating everything in a layer of viscous slime. My job is simple, brutal, and ultimately futile. I have to scrape the slime off the primary intake membranes so the cracker can suck in water, split the hydrogen from the oxygen, and keep the 3,000 souls in Sector 4 from asphyxiating. I engage the mag locks on my boots and begin the trudge along the catwalk. The water resistance is immense. Every step requires a deliberate output of force, fighting the density of the deep. My suit's servos whine, a high-pitched frequency that cuts through the water, assisting my movements, but the effort still registers. My respiratory implant widens my trachea, forcing more gas into my lungs to compensate for the exertion. The intake bank is 10 meters ahead. It looks like the gills of a dying leviathan. The fine mesh of the membrane scrubbers is clogged with a thick, felt-like mat of dead algae. It reduces the water flow to a trickle. Without water, the electrolysis cells overheat. If they overheat, the logic gates shut them down. If they shut down, we die. I unclip the scraper tool from my belt. It's a vibrating spade, powered by a localized battery pack. I plant my feet, lock my knees against the gravity, and drive the blade into the rot. The sludge peels away in heavy, coherent sheets, drifting off into the dark like shed skin. Left to right, top to bottom. Repeat. This is not heroism. It is custodial work. At the end of the world, as I work, I fall into a trance. My mind detaches from the repetitive motion of my arm and drifts to the dormitory I left an hour ago. I think of my bunkmate, Hannes. Yesterday, Hannes simply stopped getting up. He lay on his cot, staring at the rivets in the ceiling, his breathing shallow, his eyes wide but unseeing. The diagnosis is common, the deep quiet. It isn't a virus. It isn't a toxin. It's the psychological realization that the countdown is real. Hannes looked at his oxygen credit balance, looked at the rationing forecast for the next quarter, and decided the effort of processing glucose into ATP was no longer a grim necessity he wished to participate in. He didn't commit suicide. That would be too active. He just ceased. I scrape a massive chunk of purple necrosis from valve 3. The suction increases immediately, a powerful vortex pulling the water into the processing chamber. The current tugs at my suit, threatening to dislodge me. The cracker is struggling. I can feel it through the vibrations in the catwalk. The geothermal taps that power the electrolysis are growing unstable. The shifting weight of the ocean, altering as the sludge changes the water density, is aggravating the fault lines. We are balancing a nuclear-powered chemical plant on the lip of a shifting tectonic plate, trying to harvest breath from a graveyard. I pause to let my heart rate drop. 110 BPM. Too high. The HUD inside my helmet flashes a yellow warning. Metabolic limit approaching. Reduce exertion. I stand still in the dark, the vibrating scraper held loosely in my hand. I look at the membrane I just cleaned. Already, fresh particles are settling into the mesh. The grey-purple silt is relentless. It accumulates faster than I can clear it. The math was run by the preservationists last year. They didn't publish the results, but rumors leak like high-pressure hydraulic fluid. The rate of membrane fouling is accelerating exponentially. The filter fabrication units can't print new meshes fast enough to replace the ones that rot through. We are not solving the problem. We are just rearranging the dust while the house burns down. I look out past the cage, into the true void. Somewhere, kilometers above, there was once a sky. I have never seen it. I am 38 years old, and my entire universe is grey steel, purple rot, and the number on an O2 regulator. Why do I keep scraping? It's a question that sits heavy in the belly, heavier than the grey bloom protein paste we eat for every meal. I scrape because the alternative is the chaos of asphyxiation. I scrape because I am a creature of function. If I stop, the machine stops. And if the machine stops, the silence becomes absolute. But there is a seduction in that silence. I move to the next panel. This one is bad. The algae has calcified, mixing with silicate precipitate from the thermal vents. It's hard as concrete. I crank the scraper to maximum power. The vibration runs up my arm, shaking my teeth, blurring my vision. I bear down, putting my weight into it. Crack. It's not the algae. It's the scraper blade. Microfractures in the alloy, fatigued by the cold and the pressure, finally give way. The tip snaps off and vanishes into the intake suction. I stare at the broken tool. I have 2 spares in the airlock, 50 meters back. I could go get them. I should get them. But for a moment, I just hang there, suspended in the hydrostatic crush. If I go back, I have to cycle the lock. That wastes 2 cubic meters of air. If I stay, I can't clean the last 3 panels. Efficiency drops by 12%. The preservationists will have to adjust the actuarial tables. Maybe 10 people in the outer ring lose their credits a week early. Maybe Hannes doesn't wake up tomorrow. I look at the mesh. The purple slime is pulsating gently with the current, like a living thing. In a way, it is the only living thing that matters here. We are the parasites, burrowed into the skin of a dead world, inhaling its decay. I take a breath. The implant clicks. The air is cold, dry, and tastes of finality. I turn around. I fight the water resistance, step by heavy step, heading back toward the airlock. I will get the spare tool. I will finish the shift. I will return to the dormitory and lie in the stillness, conserving my credits, motionless as a statue. Not because there is hope. Hope is a variable we eliminated from the equation decades ago. I do it because the machinery of survival requires lubrication. And tonight, that lubrication is my sweat. I reach the airlock and hit the cycle button. As the water drains and the heavy pumps scream into life, pushing the ocean back, I catch my reflection in the dark glass of the inner hatch. My face is pale, efficient, unmarked by joy or grief. It is a face designed for low oxygen consumption. The pressure equalizes. The inner hatch opens. The smell of ozone and unwashed bodies hits me. The smell of home. "Welcome back, technician," the automated voice says. Scrub efficiency rated at 84%. Optimal. Optimal, I whisper, the word barely a disturbance in the thick air. I unclasp my helmet. The silence of the habitat rushes in to meet me. Heavy and waiting, I take a breath, and I begin the wait for the next shift. This has been the Stillness at 1100 atmospheres. If you want to make sure you never miss an episode, please hit the follow or subscribe button in your podcast app. Also, leaving a 5-star rating and review is the best, free way to help this podcast grow. Thank you for listening.